What's up guys, in this week's Wednesday craft, I'm gonna show you how to take this boring Amazon lantern and turn it into this super rad disco style lantern. Hey guys, Jason from The Glitter Guy here, and what I'm gonna do is walk you through step by step on how I transformed this basic Amazon lantern into this super fun, disco-esque, glittery lantern. First, the materials that we're gonna need, very basic list. Mod Podge to adhere our glitter. The glitter that we're gonna use is our rock candy from the Glitter Guy's pastel glitter line. We also used a few apple barrel paints to base out our lantern. So I went with Caribbean for the base for the blue. I'm going to be using apple barrel yellow flame for the actual candle portion. And then the black, we're actually only gonna use to cover the photocell on top so that you don't have to, you guys see, when I turn this thing on, it's on, you have to cover it in order to get it to light up right now. I didn't wanna have to do that. So what I did on mine was actually painted the top black so that way you could just control it with the switch. Also, we have our X-Acto knife so that we can cut out our vinyl. The vinyl that I'm using is the white checkered pattern from our Pink Ghost Pearl line. This is also very fun to work with, but a little bit tricky. This vinyl, this line of vinyl is a little extra sticky and tacky, but you'll see when I work with it later. And then lastly, in order to cut out the X's, I'm gonna use a Dremel. You don't have to use a Dremel. You can use like a sharp knife and just make sure you're very careful because it is thin plastic. It's not too hard to cut away, but the Dremel is a little bit safer and a little bit more efficient. Last material that we need, tool, screwdriver. We're gonna start with the screws just underneath the lid. All right, so there's 6 screws on the bottom of this. You only need to remove the outside 3 screws. The screws are a smidgen different size, so if you want to keep them separate, but you can pretty much tell them apart. The ones that are slightly longer go to the candle, and the ones that are a little bit shorter go to the lid. Should be able to finagle this guy out of here. You're gonna be a little tight with the wire. The wire runs through, so in order to gain a little bit of slack, pull the lid back and start removing the plexiglass sides. They slide right up and out. The way this is designed is to keep the wire off to the side. It's just pinched in a corner behind the glass. So once you pull that out, you have some extra slack to work with. You can kind of sit the lid in like that. Pull the candle out. Now, what you can do if you don't want to have to deal with the candle and the lid being attached in the middle this whole time, I dealt with that with the other one. Not that big of a deal, a little bit annoying, but you can very gingerly cut a slot with your Dremel into this hole where the wire is. That way you can slide the wire through and you'll be able to like pull the whole candle away and the lid away and work with everything separately. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it just as I did the first one. And we're just gonna roll everything as we go. We're gonna Dremel out our X's, and then we're gonna paint. I like to cut it from this way instead of just like turning it or whatever, because I can use the actual lantern as a bit of a brace, because if you've used anything that cuts in a circular motion, it can kick back if you're cutting in the opposite direction. So this is smaller and I am relatively strong, so I'm not that worried about it kicking back, but if you are a little bit worried about your grip strength, it does help to brace whatever your cutting tool is against something. Just like that. If you have any little frays of plastic, it's probably easy enough to just pick it away with your fingers. If you really want to, you can change the attachment on your Dremel to the sanding attachment and sand everything completely smooth. Now, I would love to paint. Like I said, I'm gonna be using Apple Barrel Caribbean acrylic paint. By all means, use whatever paint you desire. So if you want to be able to paint all sides while you're rotating, what I figured out that you can do to get a little bit of slack is if you take the candle, sit it on top, you can move the lid over to the side, and then now you can paint everything. The handle just pops right out. And when I first painted my other one, I had taped off the photocell, and then I ended up going back and just painting the photocell black anyway, so I'm not even gonna tape it off. I'm gonna put paint over it, and then when I'm all finished, I'll clean it up with some, like a fresh coat of black paint. Maybe I'll even throw some glitter on it. Maybe, probably. In the meantime, we're gonna go back and we're gonna paint our candle. What I did on my other candle is I painted it pink. I think it looks cool, but I thought that yellow might translate a little better through the glass, so I wanted to give that a go on this one. And if I did it wrong, then at least you guys will know and you can do the right one when you do it. The paint job on your candle is not like quite as important. I mean, all the paint jobs are important, but you can't see it super clearly through the vinyl. So really, as long as it just kind of embellishes the color, that'll do the job that you're looking for. I'm definitely gonna wanna do a second coat of blue. I think the yellow is probably gonna dry well enough for what I'm looking for. While we wait for the blue to continue drying though, we can start cutting out our vinyl and applying it to our plexiglass sides. Let's grab our vinyl, a nice sharp X-Acto knife. All I'm going to do, very simple rectangles, cut it along the edges. Make sure that this is nice and clean. Line it up. There is not really much going back. Once you lay it down, she's down. Watch, unhappy with me. Nice. I think I'm gonna like the choice of the white checkered pattern better. All right, I ended up with a tiny babele. Just poke. If you have any little bit of overlapping, you can just fold it right over the edges. This stuff is thin enough, that should not cause you any issues. One side covered, we're gonna do that to the rest. Let's get a second coat on this guy. That is our second coat. It still probably looks totally streaky and stuff because it is, but that's fine because it is literally just the base for the glitter. The glitter is gonna be the piece that makes this pop. Flawless again. We have our 4 sides skinned out. Take my catch vinyl, flip it over to the side that I want to catch the glitter with. Mostly dry, see a little bit of wet spots, but not enough to deter me from pushing on. Get our Mod Podge out now. I like using the silicone brush to apply glues because it's almost like spackling if you've ever spackled. So I feel it's a little bit easier to get a nice even layer. You can just apply firm pressure, run the brush, and it'll squeegee everything out to the desired amount you want. Let's grab our glitter, some rock candy. My candle's dry enough so we can probably keep everything on its side now, which will be easier for applying the glitter. I'll be the responsible crafter and grab my excess, put it back in, do it again. So now we need to just allow the Mod Podge to set, which does not take much time at all. And then we're gonna go outside and hit this with clear coat just to seal everything in. Whatever you prefer for sealing, you could go back over it with Mod Podge to seal it. You could go and hit it with spray sealer. I am going to hit it with some 2K clear coat. And once it's dry, we will come back and assemble. All right. All right, guys, so I just went and grabbed the pieces from outside. Everything should be dry-ish, enough for me to want to continue. So first step of the assembly process, we're gonna take our candle and get it back in. While it's upside down, we're going to screw it back in place. Just line up your holes. Flip her over. We're gonna let our lid dangle. We're gonna slide our walls back in. So they do have a very slight taper, I believe, from when I was putting them in the other one. You wanna take your wire and make sure you tuck it back into the corner that it came from, and then slide your last piece back down in. That is the only one that should be a little tighter just because it's holding the wire in place. The rest should slide down relatively easy. If you have it upside down, like I said, with the slight taper, you will absolutely know right away because it will fight you. Yeah, some Mod Podge in my screw holes. It'll poke through if you give it a little oomph. It's all assembled. There's just one more thing we're gonna do. I know I put glitter and glue and whatever over this photocell. I am positive that when I turn this thing on, it's probably not gonna light up. Nope, because it's not dark enough. So we're just gonna take some black gloss acrylic paint. See how it just lights up once you start covering enough of that photocell? If you guys want the top to be any solid color that covers this will be enough. I mean, you could put a piece of white masking tape over it and then paint it pink or blue or whatever so that it has a solid base to it. There's different ways to approach it. Putting solid black paint on top, I figure, does the trick for sure. So if you want to, while it's wet, there. Helps it blend in a little bit, but it definitely has the solid black base to do what we want with having the candle completely lit. Those are the two lanterns side by side, and what I'm doing right now is I'm really looking at the candle inside. I'm not completely pleased with how the candle looks on this one, but I don't think it looks terrible. I do think the pink was a better choice though. So I think if I did another one of these, I'd probably do the pink instead of doing the yellow. But yeah, overall, I really love the way these two came out. Okay guys, so that was my Wednesday craft for the week. Everything that you need in order to do this is definitely linked down below, so check that out. Super fun. I hope you guys liked it, and if you like more like this, then definitely make sure you hit all the appropriate subscription, notification buttons below so that you find out next time I make something awesome like this.